Thank you, viewers and listeners. Welcome to yet another episode of Business Chronicles here on Studio 84. My name is Solomon Tumwesigye, and I'm your host at Business Chronicles at Studio 84. Studio 84 is a podcast studio set up to facilitate individuals and organizations tell their stories and along the way position themselves as authorities at what they do, because we strongly believe that everyone is an authority at something and they have a unique story to tell. My guest today, he's nodding already, is a doctor. Now, his doctorate is under investigation by some people, but he is about to clear the air and tell us what doctor he is. Earlier I asked him, are you a doctor of medicine or a doctor of books? He said it's complicated. We have the time to try another complication today. You're very welcome, Dr. Hilary Bainemigisha.
Yes, thank you, Solomon.
So Dr. Hilary, recently I learned that many people get your surname wrong.
Yes.
They say Bainemigisha, which is one blessing.
Yes.
But yours are many.
Yes.
Should we start from there?
Yeah, it's actually ingrained in my history.
In your
I was
history?
born of very brilliant parents.
Yes.
And at that time, I was the only one with that name. In Ankole, it was Bainemigisha, Bainemigisha like that. But I was Bainemigisha.
Yes.
And everyone practically would misspell it. So I had, if it was the first time, to say no. Make it plural.
Yes.
Make it Baine.
Bainemigisha.
Of course, in pronunciation,
It's Bainemigisha, but it's Bainemigisha.
Bainemigisha. And then even Hilary was a single L, and people thought it was Dawa. I don't know why. So now, if you Google anything about me, you have to Google 3 times. You have to Google the right name. Some things won't come. You have to Google with double L, other things will come. You have to Google Bainemigisha.
Other things will come, others won't. Wow, Hilary.
Yeah.
I am. Do your parents still live?
No, they passed on. They live now in heaven.
Yes.
And I feel their presence all the time.
Yeah.
We are in touch. And many times they bail me out of complicated situations. So I am mainly physical and spiritual.
Hilary, a very spiritual man. Now I feel like this episode won't be enough, because in my head when I came I was going to talk about your Dr. Love life, talk about Aunt Porridge life. Now I can hear you're a very spiritual man.
Yes, very true. Maybe if it doesn't break the rules, we can come back here again for some other bit.
It definitely does not.
Because I now introduce myself as a 6-in-1 expert.
We shall get there.
Yes, and each has its own story. But I can amalgamate them for the sake of time, but I think at 58 years old, I have had my mark in 6 areas of expertise.
Hold on, doctor. I like to ask my guests to introduce themselves for purposes of clarity. So please introduce yourself to our viewers.
Yes, I'm Hilary Joseph Bainemigisha.
Yes.
The Joseph bit got lost briefly, but I want to restrict it to romantic spaces. So when I have a loved one, I tell them it will arouse me more to call me Joseph.
Oh gosh,
Joe, because you then become different from the rest. So that is its purpose. But Joseph, you can call me Hilary Joseph Bainemigisha. Then I grew up. That was my baptism. I was baptized by Bainemigisha.
Yes.
4 days later, my very religious parents baptized me. 4 days after birth, calling me Hilary Joseph. Now, later, in old age, the world gave me the Dr. Love name, and we shall come there. So I now move by Dr. Love, Hilary, by name, just stuff like that. I was born in July
Yes.
But my making really started on Independence Day. If you calculate 9 months back, my parents came home after a great independence
celebration.
They looked at each other and they said, why not? So that made me start my journey as I got on the Independence night.
Wow. You're an Independence night child.
Yes. So my life started on Independence Day. But the first part of 9 months, I was in the womb enjoying myself. I came out on the 10th of July. Now, when I came out, I was the first boy.
Yes.
At that time, males were celebrated more than females. We still had that cultural hangover. We are talking about 1967.
Yes.
My parents married late.
Mm.
My father first became a Christian brother of Christian instruction for 7 years.
Those ones are allowed to marry.
No, they are not.
They are not.
They are not. They are celibates. And but you make vows. Before he made the perpetual vow of remaining a brother forever.
Yes.
He decided to leave.
So they give you time to first make it a trial.
When you finish novitiate,
yes,
you make a vow of 2 years.
What is novitiate? We speak English on this show.
When you finish that training to become a religious man, a brother, you take a vow of three vows.
Yes.
Of poverty, chastity, and obedience. Yes, it's a monastic kind of life. It's a spiritual in a way, so you may not be impressed by poverty.
No wonder your father didn't sign up for those three.
They are not allowed to own anything. You are looked after by the congregation.
Wow.
Whatever you get as a gift or by your own self, you bring to the congregation and share. So you take 2 years for you to go in and see. After 2 years, if you still like it, you take 5 years. After 5 years, if you like it, now you take the perpetual vow of staying there until you die.
Yes.
So my father did 2 years, did 5 years. I had to talk with him about it. And he told me there were many white brothers and black brothers around that time. But even within the monastery, they were feeling marginalized. There was a lot of discrimination between blacks and whites. And after working a lot of places, he went to Tanzania, he went to DRC, Toro, and then back to. He felt that he was not going to make headway as a black person. But there were also problems in the home where they were born. So he was a very selfless person. He told me he loved to be in brotherhood, but his family at home was disintegrating.
Yes.
His father had died. His mother was having problems. The brothers and sisters were very poor.
Yes.
But he had studied. He had got a degree. He had been to the University of Dundee. And he thought at that time he had the power to resurrect his family.
Yeah.
What he had was now going into the congregation, and he felt bad for him to be so fine and his family was so bad off. So he didn't take the vow. He was discharged.
So can we not really blame, but attribute his reason for not continuing the brotherhood to those reasons you've given? Not the love for marriage.
Yeah.
And love as we know it.
He hadn't got, of course, seen my mother or any girlfriend.
Yes.
But also the divine power is in, because where would I be? Where would this world be without me? I think the divine hand, God works in mysterious ways. So he came out. But now, 7 years later, and that lengthy training, he was an old man. Those days, boys would get married at 20, 23, 18, you are getting married. All his brothers were married. He's the second born, except one, the last boy. But my mother, on the other hand, had excelled in school. From that, their rural schools, had come to Namagunga. After school, had gone to the University of Leicester.
Yes.
In UK.
Yes.
And that lengthy training made her an old woman in the eyes of the cultural population then.
Yes.
That training, when she came back from UK, I think threatened so many men.
Yes.
Out
exposure
of her
and all that.
She was putting on mini dresses. She was smoking a cigarette.
Yes.
She could drive a car.
Yes.
Which man would dare?
No.
Then she went to teach. So everyone was worried. Will she ever get a husband? Then my father came. You see, the match was so perfect that he was old, she was old, but he was still older than her. He was empowered, exposure, and my mother was also empowered. But it was a match made by the priests. Since he was a religious person and my mother's father was a musician, he was the one playing the organ in the cathedral, and worried because her other daughters were married except her firstborn, who was in UK, who was in different places. So when she came back, every man was scared of her. So my father was told, why don't you? They met, they loved each other, I think. The rest is history. They married.
So with his, I dare say, matching exposure and no fear of the known or unknown, you could say, never been rejected by a woman before, he had the faith to make the move.
We can now
ladies and gentlemen,
that.
Dr. Love has a book. He wrote a book. Is this your first book?
No, it's my third book.
So Dr. Love's third book is Experts 100 Strategies for Love. Dates matter, not harder. This being your third book, I believe, has lots of experiences and maybe clarifications from your past books and so many articles. Dr. Love, I used to read your articles until life happened and I got busy with other things. How long have you written your column in New Vision?
I started in 2002.
That's 23 years.
I have written that column. I used even to write twice a week. Then it became once a week. So I don't know how long I wrote twice a week, but let's just take once a week. So once a week, every year for 23 years.
That's over 1,000 articles.
1,000 and to 100 and something articles. I thought actually I was the longest columnist, so I went on Google and I found someone
who
in America who is in the Guinness Book of Records. He has written 3,000. That's double mine. 3,400 columns, sports columns. The time he died. One man was writing a sports column for, I think, longer years than me. He died an old man. But that's the one in there. But I'm still writing.
In Uganda, no one.
In Uganda, I doubt. People write and fall off.
Yeah.
People write and maybe come back, then fall off.
Could it have something to do with the topics they write on? Yours is consistent.
Yeah, I write about a difficult topic. You see, every adult is an expert on love. And when someone tries to lecture you about what you know, what you've experienced, what you consider yourself an expert in, it might be repulsive.
Yes.
So I know that. I started writing because I have training. I did a postgraduate diploma in counseling, and I majored in love relationships. When I came, I was abroad. When I came back to the country, I tried to do counseling, but I failed. People were trusting more their families, their religious leaders, more than strangers. And I found it funny because a stranger will not remember you, will not have a bias
judge
of your background,
look at you the next day and all that.
So I abandoned counseling. I went into journalism.
So,
but in the journalism, in the newsroom, they were youth, they were young people, and love was always the story.
of course.
But I would always give explanations that would impress people. My editor at that time, Onyango Obo, said, but I like your ideas. How do we put them in the paper? Why don't you write a column?
Charles has an eye for brilliant things.
He gave me a column 202. And then eventually we started a pull-out called Women and Men in the Monitor. It came out on Thursday.
I think I remember Women and Men.
He allowed me to go as wild as I could. And shortly it became the leading seller there for the Monitor.
So you were not always at Vision?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. I went to Japan. I was in Japan for 5 years.
Yeah.
And in Japan, I did odd jobs. I covered chaos. And I was baffled at the way my fellow Kubacheyos would deceive people at home about the type of work we do. Taking pictures with their bosses, bosses' car, this is my car, this is where I stay. And they didn't see that cost us a problem, because at home, once they felt you are comfortable, they would start being demanding.
Yes.
So I wanted to demystify Cheyo. I asked the New Vision, can I write the diary of Nkuba Cheyo? And I tell you what we go through. And they said, write a few pieces and we see. I wrote a few pieces, and for around the 3 years I was in Japan, I became a columnist in Sunday Vision. I was writing under the name Nkuba Cheyo. That's what they put.
How popular were you with your friends in Japan?
At first they didn't know.
Oh, they didn't know who Nkuba Cheyo was?
Yes, because I was revealing a lot. They and when we would come, they would say, but there is this person, and they would be annoyed. So there was no way you could reveal yourself.
No, you couldn't.
And I even told my wife not to tell people. Just go and pick the check at the end of the month. Don't tell people. But when my writing became popular here, there was no way she would not associate with me. She started saying, my husband. So in Japan, I managed to keep it low, but some people would suspect. I started seeing whenever I would meet, whenever I would come, people would disperse. And then I started realizing.
I have a specific question on that one, Doctor. Related to what's with women and associating with success, you could say, because at first she would pick the check, go, but then the article got popular and she could not wait.
Saying, this is my.
Does this book answer that my question?
Yeah, partly, but it's not a woman thing.
It's not a women thing.
It's even a male thing.
Okay.
It's a man thing. If something becomes, people want to associate with success.
Yes.
People want to associate with happiness. In this book, I'm advising, how do you attract love? You can chase after love, like the way people chase after butterflies to catch them. But you can also be the flower that the butterfly comes to.
Yes.
That is what dates matter means. Don't run after the butterfly. Let the butterfly come. When I was growing up, we used to hunt for insenene until people learned the light.
To attract them.
Yes, you don't have to chase. Let them come. The same thing. Let the insenene come to you.
I know, run to the tree, shake it.
The two ways I'm talking about is be happy in your life. Be a happy person. Your funnel, there is a funnel of business.
Yes.
Where you catch many people, but those who eventually make a sale are fewer.
Yeah.
But your funnel, the catchment area. When you
wide enough, happiness is the wide catchment
like
area.
Moths. If you are a successful person, people come to you. Success. There are things that attract people's attention. Go for them. You'll date smarter. So it's both for males and
females. So it's a human nature thing.
Yes.
Doctor.
So let me finish this.
Sorry.
So when I came back to the country, New Vision offered me a job. But I was not a journalist. But I wanted to do my master's. And New Vision said, no, you can't start there. When you probation first ends. That time, Monitor said, hey, you're the one who was writing. You come for us. I said, but I want to study. You can study and work. So I ended up in the Monitor because for them. But they were all like insane.
That was before Dr. Love.
Yes. So I started in Monitor. Charles gave me a column. And we said, and people started calling me Dr. Love.
Hold on. So your writing journey started with Nkuba Cheyo.
In the New Vision.
In the New Vision. You were writing
about love.
Okay.
About Cheyo experience.
Yes.
It was like a narrative of one single person.
So you go to Monitor, you start writing Dr. Love.
Yes.
When do you come back to Vision?
It was also like an auction of So when I started writing my column,
yes,
and as heading Women and Men, there was no day that the Monitor would beat New Vision except Thursday. They quickly saw that it was me.
Yes.
They came and said, but you used to be ours. What happened? We gave you a job. What happened? And I told them, you see, no, you put conditions. And at that time, I had even finished the first part of classwork for my master's. I did master's in social sector planning and management. I wanted to join the NGO world. So they said, come. I said, no. I went to the Monitor and I reported them. They said, you can't go. They increased my emoluments. Now, that time when Nkutu came to the Monitor and he started poaching from New Vision, New Vision reacted by trying to poach from. So they came to me and they doubled everything. Salary, allowance, whatever I wanted. They even gave me a salary loan to purchase. Before that, so I went to the Monitor and said, they've given me this. Are you matching up or I'm going? The Monitor matched up. Meaning that my salary was going to double more than 120%.
Yes.
The Monitor even gave me a loan to buy a car, to purchase a car loan. So I came to New Vision and said, no, they've given me this. New Vision didn't believe it. He said, okay, when they give you an appointment, you bring it. I went and said, put it in writing. They gave me. I went to New Vision. They said, we have to have a meeting. We'll call you tomorrow. The next day, they came and said, we have increased. We are not even giving you a car loan. We are giving you money to do what you want. We would like you to buy a house or a land. And then we'll cut from the salary. And of course, the salary had been increased. So even if they cut,
you would remain comfortable with at least what you had before.
Now I was very uncomfortable being a subject of auction.
What a dilemma.
I consulted and people said, but the New Vision is more stable. It is. So I crossed. I went to the New Vision. The Monitor called me to up. And I said, no, I'm becoming like a prostitute. So that's how I came to New Vision.
Doctor.
But I had come at a high salary. I had come at a high salary, even higher than my boss. So they were saying, don't say anything. So the demands were a lot. So they gave me 2 columns a week. They made me editor. They wanted to start book a day in English.
Yes.
It was called The Sun. They made me
the editor of The Sun.
So that's how I went to the New Vision. And soon after, they gave me money. I bought a house, a commercial house in Lugara within KCCA. I almost called it Kaushenga House because Kaushenga was the one saying, I will get you whatever it takes.
Trust.
I was able to take him there, and that was one of my achievements.
Trust Robert to be very aggressive. My specific question, though, Doctor, when you are saying all this whole auction thing, as I wanted to ask whether you have encountered that same scenario in your love life or met people who have encountered they are so hot a potato that they are being
the problem I think is my age. Most of those people are alive. And when you're bringing these things to the public,
yes,
you have to consider
their privacy,
their
and
privacy,
like that.
their friends, their what, and being now in the public media.
So you being a counselor, doctor, how would you advise someone in that scenario, a young man, a young woman, because they walk these streets every day?
Yes, yesterday.
They're in an auction dilemma, a love auction dilemma.
Yesterday that question actually incidentally came out.
Oh.
I was addressing the Rotaract Club of Bukoto. Young people with very weird, not weird, within their context, weird ideas and plans. So the idea of like stealing someone else's partner with force of resources. That's the kind of auction you're talking about.
Yes.
Now, throughout this week and last week, I was doing talks on the power of love. The power of love as an unsolicited emotion born from within you.
Unsolicited.
Yes.
Yes.
When it comes out, it can be fought, it can be adjusted, because there are other factors that come in. Impression by a person's resources, person's family, person's stature, the promise of the future. So you might be in love with A, but A doesn't have enough promise. B is interested and he has the resources today. C is interested and he comes from a good family and they seem to have an everlasting promise.
D, I like that, everlasting promise.
D is interested, he's maybe prolific in romance and stuff. But
C has potential. You can even see it with your eyes.
Yeah, but he looks like a playboy. So you have A to D. And in dating, you are allowed to sample. But your love is for A, who is not ready, who is not. So it's a dilemma. You cannot give a one-size-fits-all solution. No. You have to look at the context of each individual. Yeah. But I was talking about voting for love. Because this love you see can be a subconscious decision of your body that you are not consulted in the process of deciding who you date. We call it genetic attraction. You, Solomon, I cannot know your genes, but I can see them from you. You are a billboard telling the world what genes you have. Your height, your appearance, your mannerism, your voice, the way you get excited, the way you laugh, all those are functions of genes. And you get these genes from your father and mother. But you get the best from either. And when you have a child, the child will get the best genes from you and your wife or your woman. So technically, the offspring must be better than the parents.
Yes.
Genetically.
Yes.
But it depends.
The offspring better than any of the parents. Yes. Because they are a combination of both.
Okay. And of good genes from either.
Yes.
The bad genes, the weak genes don't express themselves. They are suffocated off.
Wow.
It is a miracle of reproduction. But it depends on you. So I have genes and there are genes I need, I lack. I can only get them from my wife. If my wife has the same genetic composition with me, we won't give the offspring.
There's no value added.
There's no value addition. So when we meet, me and my wife, the different genes will come, those which are different in nature and expression. So the more different they are, the better the offspring. So we call it genetic compatibility.
Yes.
And if it is at 60%, the offspring won't be as good as if it was at 70% or 80 or 90. So when you see someone, especially love at first sight, for you, you think this person is beautiful, attractive, all that. No, your body is saying, bring me those genes. I want them. The body identifies the genes that you need and makes you fall in love. Now, when you fall in love with this one, the offspring becomes better. Very intelligent, high immunity, adaptability. There are many advantages in the offspring. So when you complement at 60, it can be love. If it's at 70, it will be much more love. If it's at 80, crush, first sight. If it's at 90, you would kill yourself. So these are the billboards. And then now, how does the body know? Through the 5 senses. You see someone, you're smitten. Someone sees the same person and
they feel nothing.
Why are you?
Oh yeah, makes sense.
That hypothesis says there is nobody who is ugly. It depends on whether they have similar genes. So if someone has similar genes, especially the special expression genes, the body will say, she's ugly, she's disgusting. Don't bring. And you find yourself not falling in love, not being attracted. The body is saying, don't. That's why we don't have sexual appeal to our siblings, because we have same genetic components. And then, of course, I want to tell the listeners that there are other factors of attraction. This is just one of them. So don't say it's the only, the other factors. But if we isolate this one, this is how it expresses itself. So when I look at you and I'm smitten, I don't know your name, I don't know what you do, but I want to look again. I miss a heartbeat. I feel like that could be genetic attraction. Through smell, raw, natural smells might be disgusting, but they can also be arousing. If you smell the person's armpit, sweat, morning breath, and it's disgusting, most likely similar genes. So, but, and when you don't follow it up, it helps, because when you marry for money, for example, but you have similar genes, not only will you get a poor offspring, but imagine in bed where you have just had sex, the smell of sex will disgust you, because these are the same genes. But if your genes are different and complementing at a high level, that raw smell of sex will arouse you more. So there is smell, there is touch. When you touch, the body has ability to analyze the genetic components of the person you have touched. When you hear them speak, the sense of hearing, people fall in love with the DJs they have never seen. Say, I really need to see this person. What's the last one? Taste. When you kiss someone, the brain analyzes the saliva. Then you start saying, it's not a good kisser. But there are people who say it's the best kisser. Because for you, when you find the genes are similar, the brain will start a disgusting process. You will not like, some relationships start actually and stop after the first kiss. And
the sense of taste has killed it all.
So for it to be attraction, genetic attraction, the person has to impress you in those five
senses.
If you love them by sight, then their smell must be right, then their taste must be right, then their touch must be right, then their hearing, your hearing must be right. 2, even themselves, they need to respond. If you love someone so much and they are not interested in you, either it's not genetic attraction because they are supposed to see that you have, or they see and they are fighting it because there is another person they are eyeing who seems to have a promise. So you can't know, but you cannot decide. It's the body. So love, when you follow love, maybe you follow your body. If you have sex with a person you are genetically attracted to up to 80%, my God, it will be so fulfilling and so memorable. It will actually etch on your memory that you can just think about that sex and you want to see the person again. That is why I even tell married people, when you are in a relationship with your wife, it is possible to fall in love with someone else. But if it is love at first sight, go slow. Because if it is genetic attraction and this person compliments you at a higher percentage than your partner, this relationship on the side will become a problem. It will break your marriage. You'll find that your marriage disgusts you. You even want this person to go. The sex no longer makes sense because the other person the body internally is pushing you elsewhere. So the best way is, because marriage is forever, do not follow it, ignore it, suffocate the feeling, because once you go, the genes, the hormones will drive you away from your marriage. That's one disadvantage of adultery, because you might end up with a person who compliments you higher and you are speechlessly, helplessly captured.
In a typical entanglement.
Yes. You find people calling their spouses names of lovers and we can't know how it came about. But the body is saying, no, for me, bring me the other one.
Doctor.
So you also find parents trying to punish their children. You are getting 4%. But it's their fault. They married for money. They married for other reasons. They ended up with people with similar genes. So how do you expect your child to be intelligent?
No.
You have to invest more. Now other factors must come in. Good school, good support. You must do all that for the child to be intelligent. You are always in hospital. Allergies. The kid goes to the village, the baby is water. They are getting
chocolate or what? All sorts of things.
But it's the genes you gave. So marry for love, and one, you'll get good genes. Two, your sex will be fulfilling and for a long time. Three, people are very difficult to live with. You ask God, He has handled human beings and cried. That Bible is full of regrets and regrets.
Yeah.
Human beings are difficult. You need love to shock absorb, to lubricate those conflicts. Now, the love of genetic attraction is eternal. It's hormonal. It's not forced. It actually forces you to solve your conflicts, to solve your... I give an example of like a football team. The 11 people who are playing are not actually friends. They may have rivaled on a woman. Someone hasn't paid another's debt, rumor mongering. They're actually not necessarily friends. But because there is an opponent, they have to play together to win. So these small differences are neglected.
Can be put aside for the moment.
For the purpose of this. So for marriage to last, create for it projects, enemies. That makes these squabbles irrelevant. At least let's first finish this. So love becomes one that negates these small problems for you.
I get it. Doctor, our viewers and listeners, I hereby declare and baptize this show rated 18 plus. Because this is not a typical Business Chronicles conversation. And enough about love for this session, Doctor.
But not before you say this book is available in bookshops.
This book is available in bookshops. You tell us, Doctor, where is it available?
You can go to Aristoc, you can go to Uganda Bookshop, Mukono Bookshop, Angelina Bookshops, but also at Aunt Porridge's outlets. You'll find this book. And you can also call me and I deliver if you are if you are not in Wharton areas.
I will drop Doctor's contact number in the description below, so that you're able to reach out to him and get his contact. Doctor, quickly, I noticed something in common with the things you do, the things you're passionate about. Your approach to Love Matters, especially your articles, your column, has a totally different flavor. You successfully mix it and mingle it with the ongoing current matters. I shudder to read what's coming out today, what will come out next week with the issues going on in this country right now. But I also noticed that your product, Aunt Porridge, has a lot of birungo in them. So what's that about you and so much birungo in things?
Yes.
Don't you worry that you will spoil the product?
Solomon, you are a brilliant person. You're making me see it for the first time. but singles are good, and naturally they are not enough. Yeah. That's why we have choirs. When individually people can sing well,
and they harmonize,
but the choir is better.
Yeah,
because it's a group.
Yeah,
that's why in group sports, I love group sports. It's difficult to enjoy singles like boxing, like even running if it's not really, because the coordination is not there. That's why an army, for an army, a formidable army must have an air force, must have espionage, must have artillery, must have infantry, must have now even satellites. It must coordinate and attack. So things, even in medicine, single medicines have started failing. For malaria, we used to take chloroquine, but it failed. Now you have to combine, it's called combination therapy.
Yeah, I even see painkillers. They say, take this one now, after 4 hours, take this one, and then take this one.
A combined effort brings the best way. That's why I was even talking about combination of genes to bring the best. So in Aunt Porridge, now I am going to put a disclaimer. The technology of composite flour was not started by Aunt Porridge. It was started by FAO, and it was not started for improved nutrition. It was started to substitute importation of wheat. Every culture, every group of people had an indigenous food.
Yes.
Rice was in Asia.
Yes.
We had millet here in Africa. There was wheat in Europe. So when when colonization happened, they imposed upon us wheat. So after independence, countries were struggling to import wheat because we had left the technology of our own crops. So we knew wheat can make food, bread, mandazi, many things. You needed wheat. So it became a burden of independent countries to import wheat. So they started a study. They proposed that let them do composites, to use 50% wheat and 50% the indigenous crop, so that if it works and can still bake, fry, and do all those things wheat can do, then we would have reduced importation. Instead of using 100% wheat, use 50-50. That's already.
Yes.
But in the process of implementing that, then it was discovered that wheat can grow in Africa. And so it was abandoned. But in analyzing the impact, they discovered that where they had done composites, it was high nutrition per quantity. So they started going back to say, why do foods become better when combined? And when you look at it in Africa, our ancestors used never to eat singles, yet they had no science.
Really?
Yes. You ate a food with another. You have sauce, you have solid, you have maybe vegetables. In Ankore, the kalo was a composite because you do kalo, you mix it with cassava. Then another sauce, either beans or meat. And if you look at kalo, by the way, I have the studies. Kalo eaten alone as kalo or bushera without sugar, you access only 30% of the nutrients in the millet. The rest go through and get out. Because composites do this. One, the strength in one food mixes with the strength in another
food.
Just like the jelly. Two.
I told you.
Two, the weakness of one is shrouded by the strength of another. Like in Aunt Porridge, we use amaranth. Amaranth is the dodo seeds.
Yes.
They are highly nutritious. They are small, but nutrition density is high. But they are tasteless. So for a baby, unless you know that I'm getting this, there is no motivation of taste. They don't arouse appetite. So when you mix them with soya, for example, roasted soya, which has an aroma, you end up taking them under the taste of soya. You get it, how soya taste helps amaranth to be taken in.
Yes.
Then the third one is what I told you, that foods open up each other. If you take millet alone, you access 30%. On paper, the millet nutrients are listed, but the body's access to them in the body is limited because they are locked up. I will use the word locked up to create an imagery. The key belongs to another food. If you mix millet with cassava and you eat the color of millet and cassava, you access 43%. If you get millet, cassava, and beans, millet, cassava, and beans, you go up to 47%.
Meat.
But if you get,
let's try chicken meat.
If you get millet alone with beans, you fall to 40. But meat, you see, meat has got that amino acid, which is the master key of millet. Meat opens up millet up to 70%. But if it is millet plus cassava plus meat, you go to 80s. That's why in Ankole, when you had meat, the other food to think of was millet.
Explain this to me, doctor. Without labs, without research, and all these tools that we use now and technology, how did
they know?
Yes.
Maybe God will answer that when he comes back. But now we are proving it.
Yeah.
We are proving it. So now in Aunt Porridge, we have silverfish because it is high in amino acids.
Yes.
And it has the key to open up the millet. The millet. So we have millet, we have cassava, we have silverfish. It performs better than meat. So you can open up millet now and the body easily accesses all the nutrients, especially the ions that work on immunity.
Doctor, I feel like kalo and meat today.
So in terms of composites, we mix 12 different flours into one product we call Aunt Porridge. And testimonies have come out to show how it improves immunity, energy, appetite, even boosting other like cognitive factors. And we have a system of trying to record our clients. We want to create families. And people are telling us, who told you about Aunt Porridge? That doctor told me I need to.
Interesting.
And we have not asked any doctor to recommend. And in fact, in Fast Pharmacy, in Wandegea, they sell Aunt Porridge on the shelves as a medicine. So the combination makes diet one of the formidable medicines. Here, the Western teaching has given us a bias on chemical medicine, chemical interventions. But therapy can come from food, can come from ambience, laughter, humor, and just laughing and improve your immunity. Can come from comfort and promise of the future, and so many ways. So we want to use food because Uganda has a lot of food. We use 12 ingredients. We use 11 of them are from here, locally produced. only one, which is actually not even necessary. We used to import oats from Germany, the delicious oats, because we would actually first mix those oats with silverfish, because silverfish has a smell. We wanted the oats to shroud the silverfish, and after it has shrouded, then we mix that mixture with the rest of the mixture. But now we have a technology to descent
silverfish
so that you have it without its scent. But we still use the oats for the aroma.
Yeah.
Because it's not possible for someone to start making ant porridge in the next room and you can't steal ant porridge.
No.
It will report you that I'm here. Then you'll come. You'll feel hungry.
Dr. Hilary, thank you so much.
You're most welcome.
I keep telling people every time I have one of these episodes that this is the longest we have had. 50 minutes? But it was very passionate. That's all I can say. Very passionate. And the things you do are very, very close to your heart.
Yes. May I tell people that Aunt Porridge is available? We have Aunt Porridge and Instapo, which is the Aunt Porridge version of instant porridge. You just put in water.
Yeah.
So we can be found in almost all supermarkets. By my briefing on Monday, we are in 1,343 supermarkets. Mainly in Kampala, but also up country, and we have outlets. We have our vehicles moving around. You'll find Aunt Porridge. Even if you don't find it in your supermarket, ask the owner, where is Aunt Porridge? They will buy it.
So Aunt Porridge is most likely in the shop, neighborhood shop or supermarket where you shop from, if it's in over 1,000 outlets.
Yes.
Wow, well done, well done. How long have you done this Aunt Porridge?
We are in the 10th year. We started 2015, but its popularity increased during COVID lockdown because of its perception on immune improvement. When they locked down, we got sales we had never imagined. We started an online platform. We started border deliveries. Makerere allowed our workers to sleep there. We were working day and night. We were delivering. After COVID was certainly bad, but for Aunt Porridge, it was a blessing. After COVID, we had 5 shops in the country, and all of them insisted that in spite of the lockdown, we should pay rent. We just paid. We went to a bigger office. That's when actually I could see that this product
is going somewhere.
Is going to succeed.
Doctor, it's amazing, and I really find it amazing in business how when people who got to know about Aunt Porridge 2-3 years ago, now you tell them it's a product that has been here and on a journey for 10 years. Someone wakes up and wants to have an Aunt Porridge out tomorrow. They don't know the blood, sweat, and tears that you put in the research along the journey.
Yes, maybe, I don't know, next time we can have a chat and I tell you the journey.
We'll talk about the journey. We'll come back to talk about Aunt Porridge.
Aunt Porridge, it's not been easy, but also the product itself was encouraging. You see, you can have a journey when you are prodding and pushing, and instead it was pulling and pulling. Up to September last year, Aunt Porridge was selling itself by word of mouth. In fact, what we called a sales department was a delivery department. People would take it, tell others, then they would call, we need Aunt Porridge here, and we would deliver. And that was what we called sales. But starting with September, we started a sales department with people who are supposed to create demand. Go around, talk about Aunt Porridge, make people buy Aunt Porridge, and then we sell. They have targets. I employed 12 people. I expanded the workforce almost by 40%.
Wow.
Now we have 39 employees. These people have been able to increase our sales from 200 million a month to 300 and around 50 something a month.
That's almost double.
Yes, almost double. And each one has a target to add a supermarket per week. That's why there are many now. We want to saturate Kampala, and then we start going regionally. We have regional people, but we support mostly Kampala.
Yes.
Because you can't eat the whole thing, you choke. So once Kampala is okay, we shall transfer the focus to the east, to the west, to the north.
Doctor, my last question. And after this, I promise we close this thing. Which aunt of yours did you name this porridge after?
That would come in the story.
Okay, it will come in the story of Aunt Porridge.
It was a nickname that people gave to my wife.
Oh, Aunt Porridge.
Yes.
Because of the product.
Yes. So our firstborn is called Fona.
Yes.
And that is after whom the porridge, the company is named. Our company is Fona Health Foods.
Yeah.
So whenever my wife went for immunization, they would say, but your kid looks much better. Tell the others what you do, so that they learn. So my wife would tell them, I blend different foods, like this, I blend this, put this percentage. And women were saying, that's too much science. Just make for us, and we buy.
The concoction.
So she would now make and take for them to buy. And they started calling her Aunt Porridge. Aunt Porridge, Aunt Porridge. So she started a Facebook that
page,
time,
yes.
2015, 2014, there was on a Facebook. And they called it Aunt Porridge. So people would give testimonies of what Aunt Porridge has done, and that's how Aunt Porridge started growing from a volunteer supply to a women group,
to a fully fledged business employee.
So now when we made it a business, we said, why don't we keep what we are known by?
Yeah.
So we made it Aunt Porridge.
I love it. You know, I like the simplicity in the name. And this, you're third or fourth person in that chair who tells a story that emphasizes that when you're starting out, don't overthink the name.
Although we have problems, people write auntie like against porridge.
With an I at the end.
Auntie Porridge, then you have to say no.
Viewers and listeners, Dr. Hilary's stories will not end. I'm going to share his details in the description below. Please reach out to him if you want to have a one-on-one session, if you want to talk about love, you're going through things. He's a good guy. You know, I hope he's a stranger to you and won't judge you and, all those things. And, of course, look out for his product in your nearest Kaduka shop or supermarket. It's been a great over 50 minutes. Dr. Hilary, thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Feel free to invite me again.
Definitely. Definitely, Doctor.
When you become my age, you start realizing that you will not live forever. So some of the things you have accumulated need to be shared.
You need to be emptied. Yeah. Not like our Muslim brothers who physically empty you before they send you off. You need to be emptied from your soul as well.
Yeah.
Until the next episode of Business Chronicles, my name is Solomon Tumwesigye, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.